Journey to the center of the Earth that took 8 days. I lost 10 kilograms. I never imagined I would be the one to attempt something so insane, so utterly impossible. Yet here I was, standing at the entrance of the world's deepest borehole, staring into the abyss that promised nothing but darkness and the unknown. The idea had started as a joke between friends, a wild what-if scenario. But when the right resources, an eccentric billionaire sponsor, and cutting-edge technology came together, the impossible suddenly became an opportunity. My name is Alex Carter, a geologist with a penchant for extreme adventures. Over the years, I had climbed Everest, dived into the Mariana Trench, and trekked across Antarctica, but this would be my most ambitious feat, yet a journey to the very core of our planet. The risks were immeasurable, but the law of the unknown was too great to resist. What lay beneath our feet? Could life exist in the depths where no sunlight had ever reached? Would the pressure and heat crush us before we even got close? These were questions science had yet to answer, and I was determined to find out. Preparation Assemble and a team for this mission was as challenging as the descent itself. I needed specialist people who could think fast, endure extreme conditions, and handle the unpredictability of a venture never before attempted. Dr. Evelyn Hartman, a biologist with an obsession for extremophiles, organisms that thrive in extreme environments. She believed life could exist even in the most inhospitable conditions beneath Earth's crust. Mark Reynolds, a former astronaut turned engineer, skilled in constructing life support systems for deep space travel. His expertise would be crucial for designing the heat-resistant suits and oxygen supplies we needed. Luis Ortega, an elite cave diver and survival expert. He had explored some of the most dangerous underground caverns on the planet. We spent months studying maps, preparing gear, and running simulations. Our descent would begin through the Kola Superdeep borehole, a real-life drilling site in Russia, and we had acquired experimental drilling pods that would take us deeper than any human had ever ventured. Our supplies included specialized heat-resistant suits to withstand extreme temperatures, oxygen tanks and rebreathers, high-calorie rations to sustain us for the expected 8-day journey, experimental radiation shielding, a high-tech drilling module equipped with a reinforced escape mechanism in case of emergencies. The last thing I did before departure was record a video message for my family. If we didn't make it back, I wanted them to know why I had gone. The descent first few kilometers were easy, relatively speaking. The drill pod lowered us deep beneath the surface, and for the first few hours, we marveled at the dense rock layers passing by. As we descended past known geological formations, we could still communicate with the surface.
At 20 kilometers, the radio signal to the surface began to break up. That was expected, but it still left an eerie silence in its wake. We were now completely alone. At 30 kilometers, something happened that none of us had anticipated. The rock composition changed dramatically. Instead of solid, impenetrable rock, we found pockets of empty caverns. This shouldn't have been possible. Cavities this deep were unheard of. Mark stopped the drill. We had a decision to make. Continue downward or explore these unknown underground voids. Curiosity won, and we left the safety of the pod to investigate unexpected discoveries. The moment we stepped out, our lights illuminated a massive underground expanse. Stretching beyond what we could see, the walls pulsed with a faint blue glow of bioluminescent mineral, unlike anything known to science. Dr. Hartman was ecstatic, collecting samples as fast as she could. Then we saw it, a living organism, large but slow-moving, crawling along the cavern wall. It looked like a cross between a centipede and an eel, its body covered in what seemed to be crystalline armor. When we shined our lights on it, the creature shuddered and retreated into the darkness. If life exists here, what else might be down here? Luis muttered. That question would soon be answered. Survival struggle sat 50 kilometers deep. Our problems worsened. The air became heavier, harder to breathe despite our oxygen supply. Our rations dwindled quicker than planned as our bodies burned energy to cope with the stress. The weight loss began. I lost nearly 10 kilograms in those days. My body fighting against the heat, exhaustion, and lack of proper nutrition. Worse still, our drill pod began malfunctioning. The extreme heat was causing system failures. If we didn't turn back soon, we might not make it back at all. Then we felt the tremors. The core encounter had unknowingly triggered something deep within the earth. The cavern walls began to crack, revealing a chamber unlike anything imaginable, a giant metallic sphere, seemingly suspended within the molten rock. It radiated an otherworldly glow. Is this artificial? Evelyn whispered, her voice barely audible over the rumbling. Before we could investigate, The ground beneath us gave way, the cavern collapse separated us from the drill pod. We were trapped, the heat growing unbearable. Desperation kicked in, and Mark, ever the problem solver, devised a last-ditch escape plan: a rapid ascent using an emergency propulsion system attached to our suits. Activating the system, we launched upward, fighting against gravity and suffocating heat. The ascent was a blur, rocks crumbling, heat rising, our bodies near collapse. Just when I thought we wouldn't make it, we broke through back into the drill pod's entry tunnel. Luis manually triggered the ascent sequence, and the pod rocketed upward. 8 days after our descent, we emerged. The world above had not changed, but we had. Scientists swarmed us, demanding answers. What had we seen? What did we bring back? But we had no proof. The samples had been lost in the escape. The footage was corrupted from the extreme radiation. No one believed us. Yet, the weight loss, the burns on our bodies, and the trauma in our eyes told a different story. Something was down there, something that shouldn't exist. And I knew, deep down, that we had barely scratched the surface.